Another happy landing.
That's fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi.
The negotiations weren't short. Don't want to sell no death sticks.
Oh no. With the new Obi-Wan show in full swing, it feels like a Clone Wars flashback could be due at any second. I mean, Hayden and Ewan even both said they watched the Clone Wars to prepare for this show, but I think we can do them one better. You see, what if instead of watching the Clone Wars, we prepared in a different way? You see, today, I'm going to take you through all 4 of the major Clone Wars games that were released. First up is what I would say 50% of people would think of when you ask them if they played the Clone Wars game. This is Clone Wars Republic Heroes, and let me tell you, my PS3 sure did recognize it as a video game. Republic Heroes released in 2009 on all the systems you could think of a game releasing on in 2009. This game is the epitome of a tie-in. Let's start with some of the positives though. The game does feature all of the voice actors from the show. Oh! The story, I will say, is very, Season 1 and 2 of Clone Wars. That's not really a positive, though. Maybe if you're itching for some early Clone Wars nostalgia, this story will probably scratch that itch, but if you want anything with actual depth, you might as well go watch the Siege of Mandalore for like the 20th time, because you will get no enjoyment from the gameplay. I mean, just look at this. We've got a fixed camera angle, shitty controls, and lots of platforming. Nothing has ever gone wrong with this sort of scenario. Like, it's actually painful how terrible the controls are with the camera in this game. Yoda's over here yelling at me to land on the staff, and believe me, I tried, like, a million times. It's like the game just kills your depth perception. Of course, platforming isn't the only part of this game, thank God. You also have a really boring combat. Like, it's just button mashing central over here. Except for the droid jacking thing that happens where you stab a droid in the head and force it to do your bidding before it dies. Now that's a real Jedi move. Honestly though, this is the only thing to spice up the combat, and it just makes it take more time to finish, like in every encounter. Playing through the game, it just gives off the vibes of like a knockoff Lego game. Like, all the elements of a Lego game are there. They're just bad. Kid-friendly 2-player co-op. Check. Mini kits? Sure, but now they're artifacts. Yay. What about studs, you may be asking? How about some orbs? Holy fucking shit! Yeah, like they're literally just called points. These points do have a place to be spent though, and that is in the shop. You can spend them on cosmetics, upgrades, and even cheats. Does that sound familiar? I will give them that the masks and hats that are available are pretty fun, especially because they're also on during cutscenes, but they also sort of have the vibe of just rummaging around a folder of assets at LucasArts from other games and then just tossing them in here. Like, I feel like this Emperor head was just ripped from The Force Unleashed. Sure, you can also spend your points on upgrades and stuff, but why? They don't make the game feel any different. Even the invulnerability that you can buy feels useless because you don't lose any points when you die. The only real consequence in this game for death is moving slightly backwards to the last checkpoint. And the only time that you're ever gonna really die is if you miss a jump because of the game's really shitty controls, which invulnerability won't do anything about. Oh, and also, before I forget to mention it, you can play as clones, but this also sucks. You do get the option to control it like a twin-stick shooter, and that's actually the only nice part about it at all. And that's Republic Heroes, a game that just feels soulless and just thrown out there. If only there was a game that was similar to this, but better. Now this is a video game. Jedi Alliance was a DS game released in 2008 to coincide with the first season of the show. The story is fully original, and again, the voice actors are returning. Now I know you're asking, how is this DS game better than what we were just shown? Well, this game does a lot of what Republic Heroes wants to do, but in a way that's actually, fun. Essentially, the entire game is controlled via the touchscreen, which I know can sound terrible, but this game's design was pretty well thought out, meaning that, just as old Todd likes to say.
And again, it just works.
I really do mean it here though. Movement is done with the touchscreen, just moving around the stylus where you want to go. Jumping is done by tapping on jump points. Combat is done by just tapping the screen really fast. There's QuickTime events where you just swipe on the touchscreen. It's all really simple, but it's really effective. The whole style of gameplay itself kind of lends to the DS's pick up and play nature. It's not a hardcore game, but it doesn't need to be. It's got some light puzzles and a few little mini games in there as well, which are just the right level of simple for a game like this. The game also has a really great feature for each mission where before the mission starts, you select the Jedi you want to take on the mission. And they all have dialogue for all the cutscenes and stuff as well. They didn't have to do this, especially for a little DS game, but they did. I think that really shows that there's a level of care put into this game that wasn't put into Republic Heroes. It's just really nice to play. Would I say it's a must play? No. But if I were a kid, I would make sure I didn't lose this in my little plastic bag of DS games. All I have left is scribble knots. Now remember when I said that Republic Heroes would be the first Clone Wars game that 50% of people would have thought of? I may have miscalculated. LEGO Star Wars 3 The Clone Wars was released in 2011, and unlike the past two games we've just talked about, this one actually adapts part of the show and the movie, and also Attack of the Clones, because, why not? Honestly, what do you want me to say here? Not only is this a LEGO game, so it's already gotta be somewhat fun, but it's one of the best LEGO games. This game had so many new features and honestly marked a transition in LEGO games as a whole. Larger environments, a larger and more explorable hub, and plenty of things to do besides just those main missions themselves. But even in those missions, this game has some fantastic level design and also a random RTS mode in it, which was all I could think about as a kid. I absolutely loved it, and I wish to this day that they had expanded upon that more and made it its own game. It didn't even have to be Star Wars related, just throw any other theme on it. Please. Also, let's not forget that you could just fly over to the Separatist capital ship, and now you've got a whole other ship to explore, and hey look, it's all of the bad guys, which was insane to me as a kid. Also, you could unlock classic Star Wars characters as well. Look at this, that's Starkiller and battle-damaged Vader. Isn't that awesome? Also, unlike some recent releases, this game does have a character creator in it, so I'm just saying. I cannot sing the praises of this game enough. What other LEGO game lets you drive a car around on a spaceship? This is what Republic Heroes was missing. I should clarify, not cars, charm. Listen to that elevator music. Isn't it so charming? If you haven't played this game, do yourself a favor, pick it up and play it immediately. Now, before we move on to our last game, I do just want to throw in a little bit of an honorable mention. You see, back in 2010, there was a Clone Wars MMO that was released called Clone Wars Adventures. It was a kid-friendly MMO kind of thing. It's gone now. It shut down in 2014, and I don't remember much about it, so it's really hard for me to talk about it. But there is a sort of community-made emulator project that's being done for it. I think it's in an alpha stage right now, so hopefully when that opens up to a more public release, I can do a whole video on it on its own. But I just had to throw this in here because I knew someone in the comments was going to yell at me that I didn't talk about Clone Wars Adventures. So here's your acknowledgement, you person in the comments. Oh, hey there, hi. How are you doing? I didn't see you there. Okay, fine. You caught me. I'm stalling. I'm stalling. I don't want to play the next game. I can't play the next game. Okay, please, you have to understand. I'm trying to save you. I'm trying to save you from this monstrosity. Please, please, don't make me do this. Fine. You asked for this. You know how the Wii had shovelware? This isn't a shovel! Welcome to Clone Wars Lightsaber Duels, the second Star Wars fighting game ever released. It's also the last. Motion controls are not my favorite in like any game, but if Anakin Skywalker is gonna teach me how to use them, then I guess I'll give them a shot.
Now let's start with some simple slash attacks. Don't just wag it around in front of you.
What the fuck am I meant to do with this? Yeah, this game controls exactly the way you're thinking it would. Swing the Wii remote to the right, you attack to the right, swing it to the left, you attack to the left. Hold the B button, and you'll block. Add in some force controls with the nunchuck, and you have what should be a basic little Star Wars fighting game. Instead, though, what you get is a game that doesn't work. Now, I was only recording the game, so you can't see me struggling with getting this game to read my movements, but luckily, due to the fact that there's just random QuickTime events in the middle of the fights, you can see just how poorly these controls actually work. Also, there's a parrying mechanic that I never got to work properly. Like, there was a tutorial that talks about parrying, and it just ended before I ever actually did it right. Meanwhile, the AI are like parry masters, making the game unreasonably hard at times because the enemy just has a whole move that you don't. Also, look at how terrible picking things up with the Force and throwing them at people is. Sure, it's cool that you get to recreate lightsaber duels from the Clone Wars movie and then the first season of the show, but like, are those lightsaber duels any Star Wars fans' favorite ones? Like, of all of the lightsaber duels, why those? I get it, they needed a tie-in on the Wii when the show started, but imagine a game like this, but instead of Clone Wars duels, it's all of the lightsaber duels from the movies. That would have been at least a little better. Sure, the controls would have probably still been terrible, but that would have been nice, right? That's it. That's all of them. That was every single Clone Wars game. Now, if there's gonna be a Clone Wars reference in this show, we're ready for it. I'm telling you, if Anakin just repetitively jumps off of a cliff for 5 minutes, we'll get it. We'll understand that reference.